Hello everyone. In this video we'll discuss about the October month's Vision IAS magazine. So in this video we'll mainly see the two topics: polity, governance and international relation. So first is polity and governance. So first topic is capacity building of urban local bodies. In this Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, they have recently collaborated with the national workshop on capacity building to urban local bodies, and they created the capacity building commission. So what's their work is to foster the unified approach. It means their work is to form an unified approach for capacity building in all the local areas. There must be uniform rules and regulations for all the local bodies, so they can perform their work efficiently. So what's more on news? They have launched 3 key initiatives. The first one is annual capacity building plan. It is mainly to enhance the capabilities of Ministry of Urban Affairs and Urban Affairs, Housing and Urban Affairs. And the second is under this they have selected 6 pilot urban local bodies, which is Ahmedabad, Bhubaneswar, Mysore, Rajkot, Nagpur and Pune. And the third thing is they have made a comprehensive toolkit for capacity building. So what is Capacity Building Commission? It has been constituted through Gazette of India 2021. It is an independent body with complete executive and financial autonomy. And it has been the key component for also the Mission Karma Yogi, which is actually for national program for the civil servant. So civil servants capacity building program, it's a civil servants capacity building program, and capacity building commission is also a key component of Mission Karma Yogi, and it comes under the Department of Personnel and Training. And what's the main purpose is to build credibility and shape a uniform approach. There must be a uniform approach to all in urban local bodies. So that's their main role. And what's their composition is they have a chairman and a 2-person, and their terms and condition has been shall be notified from time to time. And the secretariat, headed by a secretary, and the rank of the secretary is equal to that of the joint secretary of Government of India. And functions and responsibilities: they coordinate with different departments of government. They prepare annual human resource reports on health of mainly civil services, and along with that they undertake audit of human resources. And first of all, let's see what is urban local body. Urban local body is a small local body that administer or govern a city or a town. So urban local body, it comes under the state list, and state lists of the constitution, and thus the administrative framework and regulation of urban local body varies across the state. Actually, it has been first formed under 74th Amendment Act 1992, and the urban local body has been set as a third tier of the government. There are actually 3 urban local bodies. The first one is Nagar Panchayat, the second is Municipal Council, and third one is the Municipal Corporations. And it empowers the state government to devolve. That means the state government has the authority to allocate function, authority, power and finance to these bodies. And what's the function of the urban local body? It includes the town planning, mainly town planning, regulation of land use, construction of building, roads and bridges, and poverty alleviation. These are the main functions of the urban local body. And what's the need for the capacity building of these urban local body? Why these urban local bodies need to be capacity building? So the main reason is to deal with the regional aspirations, so that they can perform well, and they can bring in social and economic development through their planning, mainly through the bottom up approach. And India's urban center considered engines of growth, so these help for that. And then next is India's urban population is expected to double. Now actually currently it is 460, near about 460 million in 2018, but it is estimated that it will be 876 million. It will at most double twice the expected population now. So there is a need for capacity building for successful and effective implementation of schemes like Smart City Mission and Amrut Mission, and streamlining process and planning process and delineation of institutional rules. So these are the need for the capacity building of urban local body. So till now, what measures has been taken for the capacity building? The capacity building scheme for urban local bodies. So it in this no. They strengthen the urban local body through capacity building, and it has been automated in the 11th five-year plan also. World Bank assisted capacity building for urban development project. In this, their main aim is to build the capacity of selected urban local bodies which are center of economic growth. So they select the urban local body and they work on it. Next is National Urban Digital Mission. In this, it is launched by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs in 2021, and it focuses on citizen-centric digital revolution in urban local bodies. Mainly, they create shared digital infrastructure. In this, National Institute of Urban Affairs has been appointed to anchor this mission. This National Urban Digital Mission is been mainly implemented by the National Institute of Urban Affairs. And Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. It focuses on efficiency in urban infrastructure and service delivery mechanism. So mainly they work on that. And municipality bonds. This is the municipal corporation. They issue bonds so that they can collect finances for their development. So what are the challenges associated with this capacity building? Lack of skill. So this is one of the main problem. The people lack skill for like management skill, planning skill, structural formation skill. So these are the financial management, e-governance. So there is lack of skill. So these are the problem. Next is the training curricula. So it is program centric and event based. So it changes. So this is one of the problem. And lack of awareness and participation. Most of the urban local bodies are unaware about these kind of schemes. And partial devolution. So the state government, they hesitate to pass on the powers to the local government. Most of the financial power and financial powers and decision making power has not been devoluted to the local government. So this is one of the issue. And major issue is there is a delay in release of grants, inadequate devolution of funds, delay in revision of tax rates. So these are the problems associated with it. So way forward, what can be done? So proper training has to be provided for all those urban local bodies. Professionalism, a kind of professionalism has to be incurred in them, so they can work with an enthusiastic mindset. And further, the lateral hiring should be with the special skill. The person with special skill has to be hired so they can work on that thing. Next is awareness generation. We have to mobilize citizens, ensure active participation of all those people, and generate awareness among the public by organizing various campaigns, engaging academic institutions and NGOs. The next is fiscal decentralization. So the fiscal thing is the main issue. So the finances has to be devoluted to the local government. So this is one of the way forward. Then convergence. We have to converge various urban local bodies so they can learn from each other. They can implement the successful implementation from each other. And these are the skills to be imparted in urban planners, like technical skills and manager skills, which includes quantitative and quality research, surveying, mapping, policy development, documentation, project structuring, critical thinking, problem solving ability, multidisciplinary awareness, strategic planning, financial modeling. So these are the things these are the skills which has to be imparted to the urban planners. The next one is criminalization of politics. So recently a report has been released by the Association of Democratic Reforms and National Election Watch. The title of the report is Analysis of Sitting MPs from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha of India 2023. So in this, what they have reported is that now recent sitting MPs with criminal cases of 40%, and in that 25% MPs have serious criminal cases, which includes like murder, attempt to murder, etc. And the state with the highest percent of sitting MPs with criminal cases includes Lakshadweep, Kerala, Bihar and Maharashtra. ADR, that is Association for Democratic Reform, was established in 1999. It is a group of professors from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and their main goal is to improve the governance and strengthen the democracy of the and their main goal is to strengthen the democracy by continuous work in the area of electoral and political reform. So what's the impact of criminalization of politics? So the institutional corruption and trust erosion. Since the criminals are in the top position, the political party will be wholly corrupted, and this lead to the trust erosion of the public. India has ranked 85th out of 180 country according to the Corruption Perception Index 2022. So this is reported by the Transparency International. India has been ranked 85th. And also politicians with criminal background hold public offices, so this erodes public trust in the political system. And second issue is the criminalization of political parties. So when the main head leaders of the political party are criminalized, so the whole political parties has been criminalized. So this is one of the major issue, and this lead to inter-party democracy. Inter-party democracy gets affected because of this, and it also affects the working of the investigation and prosecution agency. The recently in 2017 Supreme Court has also termed CBI as the caged parrot and its master's voice, since it has been influenced by these criminalized political parties. Decline in conviction rate. So the Supreme Court's Amicus Curiae report 2022, they have reported that nearly 5097 cases has been pending against these lawmakers. So this is one of the major issue, and it affects the conducting of free and fair election. In 2019 Lok Sabha general election, the Center for Media Studies has also reported that near about $8 billion has been spent only for conducting the election. So this much amount is not actually necessary to conduct an election. So this is one of the main problem. So what is criminalization of politics? So it forms a nexus. Nexus means connection between criminal gangs, police, bureaucracy and politicians. So this is one of the major issue, and mostly these criminals have muscle power. So they can use it for influence the political parties and independent candidates towards their. Next is winnability. As it has been criminalized, the candidates from these political party can easily win the election. Then denial of justice and rule of law. This is one of the major issue. And vote bank. Usually these criminalized leaders has a major vote bank and money power. And there are many other factors like this lead to corruption, nexus between criminals and politicians, etc. So what's a measure has been taken to check the criminalization of politics? So legislative measures, according to section 8.3 of the Representation of People Act 1951, if a person has been convicted by any court for 2 years, then the person has been disqualified for 6 years upon their release. So such disqualification is also enabled in Article 1 or 2 subclause 1 of the Constitution, in which the lawmaker can be disqualified under any law enacted by the Parliament. And similarly for states, it is under Article 191(1). And what's the judicial procurement? In Union of India versus Association of Democratic Reform 2002, the Supreme Court stated that electors have a fundamental right to know the ascendants of the candidates. So if a candidate has been convicted in any form of cases, so the members of the parties has the right to be informed about the arrest. And similarly in People's Union for Civil Liberty versus Union of India 2004, in that Supreme Court declared section 33B of Representative of People Act 1951 as unconstitutional and void, because this section it allows a candidate to furnish the information only under the act. So any other information which are required by the public is not necessary for the political parties to publish. Next is Lily Thomas versus Union of India 2013. In the Supreme Court ruled that section 8.4 of the Representation of the People Act 1951 as unconstitutional. In this, the convicted MPs, MLAs, and MLCs, that is legislative councillors, to continue their post provided they appeal. If they have appealed in an higher court for the conviction which they got from a before court, so within 3 months of the date of the judgment, so they can continue their post in that period of time. So this section has been considered unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And Public Interest Foundation and Union of India 2018. So in this, the Supreme Court ordered political parties to publish their criminal records in their social websites, social media handles, and newspaper. And in Ram Babu Singh Thakur versus Sunil Arora case, the Supreme Court reiterated the court's 2008 direction, that is, they have to publish their criminal record in the social medias. There were various commissions or committees for electoral reform have also reported about the criminalization of politics. For example, in N.N. Hora Committee Report 1993, they stated the nexus between the criminals, gangs, and police bureaucracy and politicians. And similarly, other commissions have also reported the same problem. For example, the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution 2001 and second ARC report 2008. What's the way forward? So there must be a lifetime ban for the convicts from poll who has been convicted. And the hybrid electoral system has to be followed. It is suggested by the 170th Law Commission report, in which 75% have to be elected through first past the post system and 25% through the proportional representation. So this candidates spend humongous amount in every election. And punishment for filing of false affidavit. If there is a politician who submits a false affidavit, the politician has to be punished, and minimum 2 year imprisonment has to be enhanced for that, or the person must be disqualified for further election. And this is suggested by the 244th report titled Electoral Disqualification. Next is internal democracy for political parties. In this, they have suggested the legislation for inner party democracy. Next is amending the Representation of Peoples Act 1915. In this, to debar the person from contesting election against whom the heinous crime are pending. And there are various other reforms like right to recall, state funding of election, fast tracking judicial process, etc. So related news, the ADR, Association for Democratic Reforms, they have also released a report on analysis of sitting, in which they have related this to hate speech. So currently there are total 107 current MPs who have declared cases related to hate speech. So this is one of the major issues. So yeah, the next topic is parliamentary privileges of lawmaker. So recently, Supreme Court with 7-judge bench have headed by Chief Justice of India. They have said for the reconsideration of its 1998 5-bench constitutional judgment in PV Narasimha Rao case, in which it's a backdrop of bribery case. As per the judgment, the legal immunity granted to legislatures under Article 105(2) and 194(2) of the Constitution prospect them against criminal prosecution of bribery charges. So Supreme Court has now decided to reconsider this precedent. So it gives an immunity for the parliamentary members from their criminal prosecution for bribery charges for their speech in or vote in parliament. So first of all, we'll see what is parliamentary privileges. It is a legal immunity enjoyed by members of the legislature, in which legislatures or granted protection against the civil and criminal liabilities for certain action which is done or statement made in the course of their legislative duties. So they get legal immunity against this. So far, neither parliament nor state legislature has enacted any kind of legislation that defines the power, privileges and immunities of the houses. So, but it has been noted in some way or the other, like in constitutional provision we can see certain privileges, various laws made by parliament, rules of both the houses, parliamentary convention and judicial interpretation. So first of all, we have to see what is breach of privilege and contempt of the house. Breach of privilege is that if an individual or an authority if they disregard or undermine a parliamentary privilege of a member. So if they undermine the parliamentary privilege of an other member, then it is called breach of privilege. And contempt of house is that any act or omission which obstruct or impedes either house of the parliament in performance. So this is against the parliament and this is against another MP, another member of the parliament. So that is the difference. So there must be a punishment for both the breach of privilege and contempt of the house. So the period for which the house can commit an offender to custody or prison for contempt is limited to the duration of the session. So they can be condemned only up to the duration of the session. So next is the parliament has the sole authority to ascertain if there has been a breach of contempt of the house or no court is entrusted with this power. So what's the rationale behind the parliamentary privileges? This ensures freedom and expression, freedom of expression of the legislature, so they can voice their concerns about whatever is happening in the parliament session, and maintain the authority and dignity of the legislatures, and it carries a function independently and efficiently of both the houses, and this ensures attendance of parliamentary sessions. So what are the provision that has been granted to these legislators immunity from prosecution? So in Article 105, both House of the Parliament and its members has the privileges, and similarly in state also the Article 194, it outlines the power, privilege and immunities of the state legislatures. So and the next is the right to prohibit publications of proceeding. In Article 105 subclause 2, they can prohibit publications of the proceeding to any authority. Similarly, for this legislature of the state, it comes under the Article 194 too. And then the freedom of speech in parliament. This freedom of speech, actually it is different from that of the Article 19.2 subclause 2. In Article 105.2, no member is liable to any proceeding in any court for anything said or any vote given by him in the parliament or its committee. So this protects them from the legal prosecution. Next is freedom from arrest. If a parliamentary member can have freedom from arrest in any civil cases 40 days before or after the adjournment of the house, or when the house is in session also. So this privilege is limited only to the civil cases, and they cannot enjoy this immunity against the action they have done in the criminal cases. And there are privileges based on rules of procedure and precedence. Like the parliament has to be informed about the arrest of any member, arrest, detention, conviction and imprisonment and release of a member on criminal charge or for criminal offence. So the parliament has the right to be informed about these things, and the right to exclude strangers. The parliament under Article 122 can exclude strangers from the session of the parliament. So what is the need for reforms in parliamentary privileges? The applicability. So the problem with these privileges sometimes shield lawmaker from prosecution as well as civil cases cannot be initiated. So this is one of the main problem. So this has to be made reform. Misuse. So many parliamentary members has been misusing these privileges according to their own benefits. So this is one of the main issue so there is a need for reform, and there is a lack of oversight, lack of procedure. There must be a proper procedure laid down for to deal with instances of breach of privileges and against the natural justice, because this allows the politician to judge their own cases, so which violates the principle of separation of powers under Article 15. And the next point is it violates constitutionalism. It gives unlimited power to the House. So way forward is there must be a proper procedure and reforms should be made so they can work efficiently against these kind of things, and they can establish a clear boundaries by enacting specific legislations. So the next topic is interstate water dispute. So recently, Union Cabinet has approved for the term of reference of Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal 2 under Interstate River Water Dispute Act 1956. So first of all, we'll see what's the issue. The Krishna is an east flowing river that originated at Mahabaleshwar, Maharashtra, and it merged with Bay of Bengal, flowing through Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. So now the thing is, this tribunal has allocated undivided Andhra Pradesh water to Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So the water which previously has been allocated only to Andhra Pradesh, after division of Andhra Pradesh to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, so this water has to be divided between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And the Supreme Court has also criticized the slow progress of Satluj Water Yamuna Link Canal. So they have criticized because of the slow process which is being taken place in Satluj Yamuna river linking project. So it's an 214 kilometer long canal sharing water between Ravi Bias river between Haryana and Punjab. It has a 122 kilometer in Punjab and 92 kilometer in Haryana. This has been planned in 1966. The plan has been taken place in 1966, but yet it has to be implemented. This is because it has been delayed because of Punjab. It keep citing riparian principle and non-availability of water. So this is the main issue, and Haryana also argues that if Punjab doesn't share water, it may face a water crisis in the future. So let's see about Krishna water dispute. In 1969, Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal was set up under Interstate River Water Dispute Act 1956. In this, actually, they have divided 2,060,000 million cubic feet of Krishna water at 75 dependability, but now it has been changed to 65. Tribunal 2 has allocated 65% dependability of this water. So initially this water has been shared between three states. Now after creation of Telangana from Andhra Pradesh in 2004, now it has been distributed among the 4 states. So these are the various tribunals formed in various river. For example, Ravi Bias Tribunal, Narmada Water Dispute Tribunal, Mahadayi Water Dispute Tribunal, Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal, Vasundhara Water Dispute Tribunal, Godavari Water Dispute Tribunal, and Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal. So what's the factor responsible for interstate water dispute? Why this interstate water dispute occurs? So asymmetrical access to the river water. So the upstream state, the stream state, they have usually they have an advantage. So this is one of the main problem. Rising water demand. So nowadays the water demand has been increased, and it is projected to increase by 22% in 2025 and 32% up to 2050. And there is a lack of clarity on water usage right. So the Schedule 7 of the Indian Constitution, the power to use water for storage, electricity and irrigation, it is mentioned under state list. And the interstate water, it has been mentioned under the union list. So there is no clarity about who has to decide, like how much water has to be shared by whom. So there is no clarity on that, and there is a lack of integrated approach. So this is one of the main problem, and there are many other issues also, like MSP for rice and wheat. This has led to increase in water demand, and the boundaries of the state has been altering continuously based on their cultural and political factors. So this is one of the main issue. The next mechanism to deal with, how to deal with this interstate water dispute. So under 7th schedule, the entry 17 of the state list, it says that the water like water supply, irrigation, canal drainage, embankment, water storage and water power subject to the provision of the list 1, union 1. And according to entry 56, the regulation and development of interstate river valleys, the union, by parliament, by law, they can create a body or to regulate these issues. So, in Article 262, the Parliament by law may provide adjudication of any dispute and complaint with respect to the use, distribution, control over the water. So, according to this, under this law, the Parliament has enacted two laws. The first one is Interstate Water Dispute Act 1956. They may in which the state government can request the central government to refer the dispute to a tribunal for adjudication. And the second law is River Board Act 1956. It is set up for river, they can set river boards by the central government for maintaining and regulating the interstate river and river valleys. And another policy is national water policies. It actually addresses the issues such as scarcity of water, inequities in its distribution, and the lack of unified perceptives of planning, management, and use of water resources. What's the challenge associated in resolving these disputes? There is a delayed resolution. So there is no proper resolution has been made regularly. Actually, for the Godavari water dispute, it took 11 years to make a resolution. Ambiguity. In Article 262, it deters the Supreme Court from adjudicating, and in Article 136, it empowers the Supreme Court to hear the appeals from against the tribunal's order. So there is no clearance about whether the Supreme Court should involve in this or should not. Then the next is politicization of the dispute. So during election time, the politicians use this issue as an for their own benefit. The lack of multidisciplinary approach. So this is one of the issue. What's the way forward? Enable cooperation. So the proper cooperation has to be made between these states who are sharing a river water basin approach. So we should focus on ecological restoration, conservation of river ecosystem, balancing of water supply and demand for human use and regional approach. So this has to be taken into measures. And multidisciplinary approach. We have to also think about the environmentalist point of view and geographer's point of view. Then we have to seek advice from those people. Then we have to make a proper water policy so that we can decide like how much water has to be allotted for each state. So yeah, the next topic is role of technology in public service delivery. So the CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, they have emphasized that there is a need to increase the use of IT system and technology in service delivery to the citizen. So what's the technology and linkage with public service delivery? For example, digital government services. So all the government services has to be made e-governance. So service has to be provided digitally. So traditionally, government used to provide services through paper, which is actually a hectic job. So through digital service, we can provide service to citizen anytime, anywhere, and through any platform or device. So yeah, there is different types of applications for rural poor. So how we can do that? We can use it to eradicate poverty, hunger, healthcare, and provide healthcare and education. So this can be made by improving the access of these digital platforms to social services. By community involvement, we have to involve the people into it, and we have to enhance the income of the poor. This can be done by improved governance of social service, health and education, and access to e-delivery, transparency and empowerment, and economic opportunities. So what's the significance of these technology in service delivery? So it saves times and money for the both citizen and the government. For example, the e-Dastakhat services, where we can get instant e-signing of documents online by citizen, legally acceptable without having to visit the government office. So we can get it online. So, and the next is increase the efficiency of government departments. So through this, the data can be, we can use those data all over India, anywhere, anytime. For example, the Vahan platform under Ministry of Road and Transport and Highway, it shares the data of the vehicle from different state registers. So these data are collected and processed, which can be used anywhere in the Indian territory. The next is eliminates the ghost beneficiary and leakage. There is a issue of leakages of the funds which is being given by the government to under various schemes. So there is a leakage of these funds. So by linking the Aadhaar cards for example, in Manreka, the Aadhaar card has been linked for direct benefit transfer. So this has removed the ghost beneficiaries from this system, and lakhs of funds has been recovered. Then the increase of accountability and reduce corruption. So this is one of the main benefit we can get through technology involvement in service delivery. And the next thing is combination of data harnessed for various sources. So we can use a single type of data for various purposes. So these are the main benefits we can get through technology involvement in service delivery. And what's the challenges? There is a main problem is digital divide. So the people has to be involved in digital world and its application. The lack of skilled workforce, the government servants who has involved in these kind of service delivery has to be provided with certain skill so that they can handle this e-delivery system efficiently. The cyber security threat, this is one of the main issue. Then lack of sufficient digital infrastructure, even this is also a main problem. Lack of interoperability, so this is also one of the main issue. So what's the way forward? We have to enhance the digital literacy among the population and along with the government servants also, and create a skilled workforce. We have to implement skill for those people who are working under this service delivery program. And legal framework has to be made for the data protection within the country, and we have to enhance the cyber security infrastructure, and we have to improve the digital infrastructure and enhancing the interoperability. So the next topic is consumer protection in India. So recently finding has suggested that there is a pending of cases in the Consumer Commission, and it has shown in a declining trend. So the cases pending has been declining. So what's the right of the consumer? So the consumer has the right to be informed about the product, the right to be heard, the right to consumer education, the right to safety, right to choose, and the right to redress. And what's the responsibilities of the consumer? The consumer has to be cautious about what he is purchasing and what he is spending the money on. The consumer must exercise their right. They insist on bill. The caution consumer will never buy blindly. They do not detect they do not get affected by the advertisement. The consumer must be quality conscious and filing complaint of genuine grievances. So who is a consumer? According to Consumer Protection Act 2019, the consumer is a person who buys any good or avails services for consideration which has been paid, promised, or partly paid or partly promised under any scheme or deferred payment. It can be both online and offline transaction, but those people who avail service for resale or commercial purpose are not treated as a consumer. They are kept outside the scope of Consumer Protection Act 2019. So what's the need for consumer protection? So informed choice. So the people can increase the through informed choice, there has been increase of supplies of duplicates and defectives. So they can be kept away from these kind of duplicate products. So checking malpractices. It prevents and combat unfair trade practices like black marketing, hoarding, etc. And then misleading advertisement. So they can be prevented from the misleading advertisement. Then grievance redressal. So the proper mechanism for consumers to address the complaint in cases such as sale of adulterated products, etc. So there must be a proper grievance redressal platform. The next is economic growth and competitiveness. So this increases the competitiveness in the market. So what measures till now has been taken for consumer protection in India? The Consumer Protection Act 2019. So this has provided with the Central Consumer Protection Authority. They regulate the matters relating to violation of right to consumers, unfair trade practices, etc. And there has been a consumer protection rules also. They provide simple, speedy and inexpensive redressal for consumer disputes. And it envisages in 3-tier quasi-judicial machinery at national, state and district level. The next is integrated grievance address mechanism portal. It's been developed under the aegis of Department of Consumer Affairs. They create awareness, advise, redress consumer grievances and act as central registry for lodging consumer grievance. Portal. They provide hassle-free, speedy and inexpensive facilities to consumer around the country. And then certification markers. So they provide protect consumers regarding quality standards. So there are various different certification mark in India. For example, ISI, which is issued by BIS for consumer durable goods, electronic items and kitchen appliances. AGMOR for the agriculture commodities and livestock product, and it has been issued by Directorate of Marketing and Inspection and Department of Agriculture. Then BIS Hallmark, it is for gold jewelries. Woolmark for 100% pure wool. Ecomark for environmental friendly products by BIS. FPO by food products by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI. India Organic for organically formed food by Agriculture and Processed, APEDA. It is given by APEDA. So what's the challenges associated with consumer protection? So what's the challenge we face in India? So there is a pendency of cases is huge both at state and national level, and there is a vacancy in institution. So the lack of infrastructure and manpower in consumer forum, this is one of the main issue. An issue of clarity vis-a-vis roles and powers, because it is overlapping. Even the Central Consumer Protection Authority does not have roles related to investigation, inquiries and search and seizure function. Right versus duty. So this is one of the major issue. What's the way forward? We can create awareness through advertisement, so that government should collaborate with manufacturer, distributor and consumer organization to develop the advertising codes and standards for relating information, and safety and quality have to be taken into measure. Awareness has to be created through NGOs by publishing periodical impact knowledge about consumer problems, legal reporting, etc. Roles and responsibilities. So the proper roles and responsibilities has to be given to proper authority. Enlisting duties. For example, the Jamaican government, they have recognized both rights and duties of the consumer in their platform. So we have to publish about the rights and duties of the consumer in our own platform. So the next topic is the Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers, Recognition of Forest Act, Right Act 2006. So in this, the report has been which states that nearly 40% of the land claim under forest right has been rejected. So let's see what is Forest Right Act. Actually, this is the Section 31A of Forest Right Act. It recognizes the right of forest dwellers, tribal communities and other traditional forest dwellers to hold and live in the forest land for habitation and for self-cultivation of their livelihood. So there are two types of rights under Section 3 of Forest Right Act. First one is the Individual Forest Right Act, which is allotted for an individual, and Community Forest Right Act and Community Forest Resource Management Rights. So the community can get the right of the ownership. They can access to collect, use and dispose the minor forest produce under this act. So what's the significance of act? They give legal right to land. Claims of forest dwellers and traditional forest dwellers. The rights of displaced communities can be re-incurred in them, and the community rights can be recognized over the common property resources, the right over developmental activities, the right to intellectual property and traditional. The nodal agency to implement this act is state government or union territories administration. So they are the nodal agencies to implement this act. The role of Gram Sabha, even the Gram Sabha has the authority to initiate the process for determining the nature and extent of individual community or in community forest rights or both. And the land titles The land title given under FRA is legal title. The land rights conferred by the act were heritable, so it passed on to the family, but these land rights cannot be transferred to any other person or alienable person. So diversion of forest land for local development rights is, for example, like establishment of school, dispensaries, hotels, hospitals and Anganwadi centers. So three-tier approval process. Gram Sabha is the primary authority. They initiate the whole process by receiving and verifying the claims. If a person or a community, if they are claiming that these a certain amount of land belong to them, so they have to claim this to the Gram Sabha. So first of all, the Gram Sabha will initiate the whole process. So after that, if a member of this Gram Sabha is not satisfied with this resolution, so such aggrieved person, they can make a resolution. They can make a petition to the subdivisional level committee, and from the subdivisional level committee, if a person is not satisfied, they can further move towards the make a petition to district level committee, and the decision made by district level committee is the final and binding. So even the protected area like national park, wildlife sanctuary and tiger reserves is applicable under FRA Act. So what are the concerns related to this act? So land claims related. So there are various problems related to land claim, because for claiming a land, they must provide that those people belong to a scheduled tribe, and they must reside in that forest piece prior to 13/12/2005. So they have to stay there before this period and depend on the forest or forest land for bona fide livelihood needs. And there is a inconsistency in acreage claimed and allotted. For example, if a person is claiming for an 1 hectare area, he usually gets half hectare or 2 acres, like something like that. So the land claim and the land allotted is different. There is a low awareness among the Gram Sabha, because there is a near about 92.57% of the land claim has been rejected only by the Gram Sabha. So this is one of the issue. There is low awareness for the Gram Sabha, and there are other concerns with the act, like the forest land encroachment. So this is one of the problem. Violation of FRA provisions. So there is various violation of this provision. There is no proper coordination among the state level committees, district level and the state level monitoring committee. So there is no proper coordination, and destruction of forest and wildlife. Even this is one of the main problem. So what's the way forward? Issuing directives to states. Under FRA Act, the center can issue directives to state to ensure review exercise. Then the learning from the state government. For example, the Mo Jangal Yami Yojana of Odisha government scheme, they will provide ownership to land and access to forest resources to the beneficiary. So we can learn from that government. Next is the awareness generation. So awareness has to be generated among Gram Sabha, forest right committees and individual forest rights and community forest right claimants. Capacity building of Gram Sabha, and there are many other things we have to involve, like marginal sections like women, increasing role of civil society, etc. So yeah, let's see what's news in short. Unlawful association under UAPA. So recently, Home Affairs Ministry has declared Jammu and Kashmir Democratic Freedom Party as unlawful association under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act UAPA 1967. So under this act was enacted for the effective prevention of certain unlawful activities of individuals or association from dealing with terrorist activities. So what's the pre-provisional? So offences are cognizable, that is, the person can be arrested without a warrant. Penalty can be death or even imprisonment for life can be applicable. Then unlawful association, for example, declaration of association as unlawful under this act and reference to tribunal, they can be referred to the tribunal. and this tribunal consists of one person, the judge of the High Court, and other powers to center that they can prohibit the use of the fund of this unlawful association and notify places that can be used for this unlawful activities. So, Terrorist Act. What's the definition? It includes any act intended to threaten the unity, integrity, security, and sovereignty of India, or strike terror people in India or any foreign countries, among others. So, this is called definition for the Terrorist Act. Then the online registration for first information reports. 282 report titled Amendment in Section 154 of the CRPC 1973 for enabling online registration of FIR. They have submitted. It has been submitted by the 22nd Law Commission of Ministry of Law and Justice. So in this actually the CRPC 1973 section 154, it governs the FIR about the cognizable offences recorded. So in this what they have recommended is that e-FIR has be enabled in a phased manner. It has to be enabled in a phased manner, and it has to be permitted for all cognizable offences. For example, arrest without a warrant. Such offences are cognizable offences, whereas accused is not known, or attracting punishment of up to 3 years. So they can be e-FIR'd. Then the state have the power to expand the list of offences. The privacy of the party has to be ensured. Then the verification of informant, complainant, and the punishment for false information. E-complaint can also be allowed for the non-cognizable offences. What's the significance? Like, citizen can report crime conveniently and efficiently. They can check the timely status of their complaint online, and it helps in reducing the footfall of the police stations. So the next topic is center claims Aadhaar as the most trusted digital ID in the world. So Aadhaar is a 12-digit undivided identification number issued by UIDIA. So DAI. They collect data in a secured. The collected data is secured in Central Identity Data Repository. What's the key feature is that it is unique. The biometric deduplication is not possible, so it is unique. Random numbers has been allotted to the for any details like caste, religion, income, and architect is open and scalable, and it can handle near about 100 million authentication a day. And measures taken to ensure safety. It is 2-layered security mechanism for Aadhaar based fingerprint authentication, so it is secure also. And the Parliament has laid down robust privacy protection in the law governing the Aadhaar system. So there is a proper privacy protection laws also. And section 32(3) of the Aadhaar Act 2016 prohibits UIDAI from controlling, collecting, or maintaining any information about the purpose of any authentication. And this authentication system has been certified as per international security and privacy standard. What's the key usage? We can use it in direct benefit transfer. It can be used for Aadhaar enabled payments, Jan Dhan account, One Nation One Ration Card scheme, PN Kisan Samman Nidhi. For example, rupees 6,000 has been given for those people under Aadhaar, co-win, face authentication. So these are the key benefits of Aadhaar. Next is Cable Television Network Regulation Act 1995. So under this, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has notified amendment in the Cable Television Network Rules 1994. It provides operational mechanism for implementation of the decriminalization provision. For example, under Jan Vishwas Amendment provision of Act 2023, under this the cases has been decriminalized. For example, if there is any punishment for providing imprisonment, it has been reduced for penalties, monetary penalties. It has been now replaced with the monetary penalties and other non-monetary measures like advisory and warning, etc. Next is Sarna Code. Jharkhand government has now recognized Sarna religious code of tribals. Sarna followers are nature worshippers. They claim themselves not to be an Hindu, and they have a separate religious identity. And these people, they do not practice idol worship, nor they do adhere to the concept of varna system and heaven hell system. These people have faith in Jal, that is water, jungle, forest, and Zameen land, and their followers pray to trees and hills. So the next is international relation. The first topic is Israel-Hamas war. So Israel declared war on Hamas militants following their unprecedented attack under the Operation Tufan al-Aqsa. Actually, this Operation Tufan al-Aqsa has been initiated by Hamas over Israel. So it coincides with the Sabbath, which is a Jewish day of worship and rest. So Hamas fired 5,000 rockets in just 20 minutes, overwhelming. Actually, it has overwhelmed the Iron Dome defense system of the Israel. What is Iron Dome defense system? It is a short-range air defense system of Israel. It can detect and intercept the incoming missile, rocket, and unarmed aerial vehicles mid-air itself based on the radar data. So in response, Israel has also launched Operation Iron Sword against Hamas militants in Gaza Strip. And amid this war, India also has launched an Operation Ajay to evacuate its Indian citizen from the Israel. So about Hamas, it has founded in 1987 after the first Intifada to resist Israeli cooperations of Gaza, West Bank, and East Jerusalem. It's a de facto authority in Gaza after Israel withdrew from the territory in 2005, and it refuses to recognize Israel and committed to armed resistance against the Israel and the creation of Islamic Palestine state in Israel place. So these are the main goal. The US, EU, Israel has declared Hamas as a terrorist organization. And there are various other players in Palestine like Fatah, Palestine Liberal Organization, etc., and Palestinian authorities. So what's the background of this Israel-Palestine conflict? The root has been established from the state of Israel 75 years ago, which is also claimed by the Palestinian Arabs as their homeland. So Palestinian Arabs and Jews, that is Israelis, alike consider the territory between the Jordan River and Mediterranean Sea as their own. They both consider this land as their own. And the main center of this conflict is the city of Jerusalem, which holds immense significance for three religions like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. For example, the city harbors Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest Islamic site, where the people believe that Prophet Muhammad has ascended to heaven from that place. And the next is Western Wall, that is holiest Jewish site, because these people believe that the first temple of Jews has been constructed in this place, and only the last wall has been remained from that holiest temple. And the third is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. According to Christians believe, the Christians believe that Jesus has been crucified, entombed, and resurrected from that place. So what's the possible impact of the current war? The centrality of the Palestinian cause. So as many Arab countries, they have increasingly moved to normalize ties with Israel, signing of Abraham Accord, for example. Now this Palestinian cause take a back seat. So this may affect the relation of Arab countries with the Israel. The next is Israel-Palestine relation, the peace negotiation. And this current conflict has unintentionally strengthened Hamas and weakened Palestine's authority position in the West Bank. So this could impact a peace negotiation between Israel and Palestine. Then involvement of Israel in Gaza. Back in 2005, Israel had chosen to voluntarily leave Gaza in accordance with the disengagement plan. However, now the Prime Minister of Israel has said that Israel will have an overall security role in Gaza indefinitely. Then the regional instability. So this is one of the main impact of this war. So the Bahrain has also recalled its ambassador from Israel. So this is one of the problem. The Bolivia also has also officially severed its ties with the Israel, and there is a strain on Israel's ties with Egypt and Jordan and Arab countries. This could impact the prospect of ending the war early. So the war may not end early, and the release of hostages and prisoners of war. So we'll see what's the timeline for this Israel-Palestine conflict over the years. In Ottoman period, under Ottoman Empire rule, the territory had an Arab majority and a Jewish minority population. And during Ottoman regime, the initial clashes between small Jewish and Arab communities in Palestine arose, and post World War I, the fall of Ottoman Empire has led to the has saw intensification of the conflict due to British mandate over Palestine under Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916 and Balfour Declaration. In this agreement, Britain got control over Palestine on both sides of the Jordan River, and in the Balfour Declaration, British government support the establishment of natural home of the Jewish people. Actually, before it used to be an Arab population's majority, but Britain has uh, supported the national home, supported it as the national home for Jewish people. So this has been a major start for the conflict. In post World War II, more Jews from various continents migrated to Israel because of Holocaust, nationalism, and Zionist movement. So this significantly changed the democracy of the territory and it intensified the conflict between the two communities. Then UN partition plan and Arab-Israel war. UN envisages the two states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side within secure and recognized borders and Jerusalem as a separate international run entity. But it was rejected by Arab and violence further escalated. So as the British mandate ended over Palestine, Israel declared itself as an independent in 1948, leading to immediate attack by the five Arab countries. So what's the consequence of this? Israel's victory and territorial expansion that led to millions of Palestinians becoming refugees and the failure to establish the Palestinian state. So this has led to further Arab-Israel conflict. And so what's the economic impact of this current war? The global impact and regional economies has also been affected because of this. It has impacted on oil price and even the war may impact the Swiss Canal trade, which actually holds 12% of the global trade by value, and the escalation in the entire Middle East trade through Strait of Hormuz responsible for 20% of the global oil trade passage, and involvement of Iran may disturb the trade with the landlocked Central Asian countries. So these are the major economic impact of this current war. And food supply. There is a shortage of food supply. For example, 3% global potash supply has also been disturbed, and this could lead to the greater food insecurity, humanitarian crisis like life-threatening shortages. They are impacting water, electricity, fuel, food, and medical supplies in Gaza. And what's the impact on India? Like India will face an economic impact because this could impact negatively on petrochemical, oil marketing, paints, packaging, textile and chemical, and geostrategic normalization. So this could affect the geostrategic normalization between Arab countries has opened up. For example, before as by Abraham Accord, geostrategic normalization has been taken place between Arab and Israel. So this has opened up an unique opportunity for India to strengthen its global and economic position, but this could affect this opportunity. Then the connectivity effort. For example, the India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor IMEC, which was recently announced by the leaders of India, Saudi Arabia, US and UAE. So this could also be affected. So what's India's stand on Israel-Palestine issue? India has strategic interest in West Asia considering its energy security, presence of diaspora and trade. So India has always continued to support two-state solution. At the UN, India voted against the partition plan for Palestine and Israel admission to the UN. India formally recognized Israel in 1950s and established full diplomatic relation in 1992. From 2017, India is following a de-hyphenation policy allowing for independent relationship with both Israel and Palestine. So what's the conclusion? The mediation between Israel and Hamas may not be fully addressed, but it has to be addressed so that these issues can be resolved. So Yom Kippur War. The attack by Hamas on Israel has been coincided with the 5th anniversary of Yom Kippur War, that is the 4th Arab-Israel War, which took place in 1973. What's the background of this war? So in 1948, the first Arab-Israel War took place. In this, immediately after Israel's declared independence, that is in 1948, when the British mandate has been came to an end, at that time, Israel declared itself as an independent country. Then it was attacked by the coalition of Arab states and Palestinian factions who were against the establishment of Jewish state, that is Israel, and UN partition plan. So in this war, the Israel gained control over the large portion of the territory, and large number of Palestinians were driven from their land. So they have been there has been refugees of Palestinians from that place. So this forced the expulsion of Palestinian Arab. It referred as Nakba or catastrophe in Arabic. So the next second Arab-Israel war took place in 1956. In this, the Swiss war involved Israel, UK and France on one side against Egypt on the other. The war marked the decline of British and French influence in this region, paving the way for United States to become the most influential power. In 1967, Third Arab-Israel War took place, which was a 6-day war. In this, Israel initiated preemptive airstrikes and successful ground offensive. So, in this, Israel took control over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip, Jordan's West Bank and East Jerusalem, and Syria's Golan Heights. So, these were places has been taken control over by the Israel. And the war ended with an UN brokered ceasefire but reshaped the Middle East map. So a major portion has been included in the Israel. So the Arab League passed the 3 no's resolution. So they have made a resolution with 3 no's: no peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, and no negotiation with Israel. And its summit took place at Khartoum. So about Yom Kippur War, which is the 4th Arab-Israel War, which took place in 1973. The coalition of Arab nations led by Egypt and Syria, they launched a surprise and coordinated attack on Israel on Jewish holy day. Same happened. It also happened on the Jewish holy day. What's the purpose is that the previous 3 wars where Egypt and Syria did not go to war in support of Palestine. Rather, they hope to reclaim the lost territory. For example, Egypt lost Sinai Peninsula and Gaza strips and Syria's Golan Heights. So they wanted back from the Israel. After Israel victory in the 3rd Arab-Israel War. So involvement of superpower. The US supported Israel and Soviet Union supported Egypt and Syria. And this has heightened the tension between these nuclear powers also, nuclear superpowers. The ceasefire attempt. So after the involvement of United Nations, a ceasefire has been achieved. And later, after this, the landmark peace agreement between Israel and Arab took place in 1978, Camp David Accord. According to this accord, the Egypt and Israel, they mediated by US, they marked historic peace treaty. In this, officially titled the Framework for Peace in the Middle East, and the accord, it was made by, it had 2 parts. An Israeli-Egypt agreement terminating the bilateral dispute between them, and a framework laying down the principle of resolving Israel's conflict with the Palestine. So they had 2 parts. And the Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israel President Menachem Begin, they awarded, and these people were awarded with Nobel Peace Prize in 1978 especially for this agreement, for their contribution to this agreement. Next is Oslo Accord. In this accord, it was signed by the Israel and Palestine Liberal Organization. These agreements they established a Palestine Authority to manage West Bank, and in return, the Palestine Liberation Authority organization they recognized Israel based on two-state solution. The next is Jordan-Israel Peace Treaty 1994. In this, Jordan became the second Arab country after Egypt to make peace with Israel, and this treaty settled territorial dispute among them, and they covered diplomatic relation and economic cooperation between them. And Israel has acknowledged Jordan's significant historic role in Jerusalem also. And Arab peace initiatives, like for example by Saudi Arabia, the initiatives normalized between Israel and Arab. In exchange, Palestine got statehood agreement and complete Israel withdrawal from 1967 captured territory. That is third war. And Abraham Accord, it is signed between Israel and UAE, Bahrain. It was brokered by US. In 2020, Morocco and Sudan has also joined up this accord. According to this accord, it had two parts: the Declaration for Middle East Peace and bilateral agreement. And in this declaration, they recognize the common ancestry of Arab Jewish people through Abraham, and it also strive for coexistence, understanding, and respect among the people of all faiths. And this accord has have also paved way for the greater regional and multinational cooperation. For example, formation of I2U2, that is in Israel, India, UAE, and United States. So, what's the consequence of Yom Kippur? Setback to Syria. Syria did not gain anything positive from the war. They actually lost the Golan Heights area. Shift of Egypt's alliance to US. Dent to the image of Israel. So Israel's image has been increased according to this. And oil embrace against US and transition from violence to diplomacy. So the next is India-Canada relation. So Canada's assertion that Indian agents were involved in the murder of pro-Khalistan activists led to the diplomatic strain between the two countries. So this Canadian president claimed that India is being involved for the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Sikh separatist leader who was shot in British Columbia in Canada in June 2023. And this information has been shared between the Five Eye Alliance. So what is Five Eye Alliance? It is an intelligence alliance comprising of US, UK, Australia, Canada and New Zealand. It was organized in 1946, and the UK-USA agreement for sharing signal intelligence. So Five Eye Alliance intelligence oversight and review the council include the non-political intelligence oversight, review and security entities of the member. So in this actually the India so because of this allegation, Canada has expelled diplomats from Indian diplomats from its country, and similarly Indian government has also expelled Canadian diplomats from this country. So India further suspended visa service in Canada, citing it as a safe haven for the terrorists, and called for the withdrawal of 41 Canadian diplomats from India. So Canada criticized for Indian demand allegation the breach of Vienna Convention, while India defended it as seeking equal diplomatic representation as per the Article 11.1 of the Convention. What's the Article 11.1? It allows the receiving state to set reasonable mission size limit. So what's Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relation? It's been signed in 1961 and came into enforcement in 1964. It has 193 members, and India is also a member of this, and it mandates, what's the mandates of this convention is that it set out privileges of the diplomatic mission and provide legal basis for diplomatic immunity. So India-Canada relation, we'll see about it. We share a democratic value, multicultural, multi-ethnic nature between the two countries, and there is a strong people-to-people contact. So diaspora, Canada hosts one of the largest Indian diaspora in the world. More than 3% of the Canadian populations are Indians, and Bilateral trade in good is near about $9.9 billion and in service it's $6.5 billion in 2022. Science and tech cooperation, like there is a mainly promote industrial research and development with focus on new IP process prototype and products. Since 1990s, India and Canada have been originated in space science. Antrix, the commercial arm of ISRO, has launched several nano satellites of Canada. Cooperation of energy security. The Civil Nuclear Agreement 2010, it has facilitated the Canada to provide uranium for Indian nuclear reactors. So Indian Oil Corporation has 10% participating interest in liquid natural gas project in British Columbia. The strategic cooperation is Canada's Indo-Pacific policy also acknowledges China as a disruptive global power, and it underscores India as a critical partner for collaboration in shared interest. So what's the challenges in this relation? Like historical legacy. So during Cold War, Canada has been a founding member of NATO, whereas India is from a non-alignment group. And additionally, Canada has also endorsed a plebiscite in Kashmir, which ran counter to India's interest. So this was against the India's interest. And after a nuclear test in 1998, Canada has also temporarily halted the potential nuclear cooperation with India. And the next issue is Canada's immigration system. This enables individuals from a contentious past to acquire citizenship. For example, the Canadian immigration system, they allow the citizenship and visa process for those people from those countries who have a contentious past with India. So this became an obstacle to upholding the robust bilateral relation between both the countries. Domestic political factors. So like Khalistan parties. So these are the domestic political factors, which is a challenge between the relation between India and Canada. Suboptimal economic cooperation. Like CEPA, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between these countries is pending since 2010. And by CEPA, the trade could boost as much as $6.5 billion, yielding a GDP gain of $3.8 billion to $5.9 billion for Canada by 2035. Meddling in India's domestic affairs. Even during the farmers' protest, the Canadian Prime Minister supported farmers and stating that the situation is a cause for concern. So what's the possible impact of this crisis? Like strategic impact, we can see the Western countries' response to the ongoing tensions have been relatively restrained as they view India as a vital counterbalance to China. So they were overshadowing the Canada's strategic interest. Economic, like this may lead to the disruption in bilateral trades, investment flows, and potentially result in further delays in CEPA. Diaspora connection. The diaspora connection, which has the potential to facilitate cultural and economic relations, is currently under the strain. What's the way ahead? Promoting diplomacy. We have to promote a diplomacy. So we should express our concerns without disrupting the status quo. Then managing the diaspora relations. Then we have to be responsible freedom for expression. Both the countries should have a responsible freedom for expression. So those who are endorsing violence, separatism, terrorism should be held accountable. And then cooperation on counter-terrorism. So the framework for cooperation on counter-terrorism and violent extremism was established in 2018. So we have to collaborate in this platform together. So what's the conclusion? It is important for both sides to develop new framework of cooperation that is more pragmatic and emphasizes mutually benefit areas such as trade, energy, etc. So next topic is India-South Korea. So 2023, it marks the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relation between India and South Korea. So there is a civilization linkage. For example, like according to Samyuk Yusa, or the heritage history of three kingdoms, the 13th century text, Princess Suriratna from Ayodhya married King Kim Suro in the year 48 AD in Korea. And the Buddhist monk Hecho Hongjio visited India from 723 to 729 AD, and he documented his journey in traveling pilgrimages of 5 kingdoms of India, offering insight into the Indian culture, politics, society. And Rabindranath Tagore composed a poem in 1929 called The Lamp of the East that celebrated Korea's rich history and its bright future. So India's role after World War II. Leadership of the UN Commission for Korean Election in 1947. A resolution sponsored by India led to the Korean War ceasefire in 1953. And India's chairmanship of Neutral Nations Repatriation Commission. Repatriation means providing a fund like damages fund which is caused because of the war. And then diplomatic relation. In 1973, both countries established a formal diplomatic relation and upgraded to strategic partnership in 2010. And then in 2015, it's been upgraded to special strategic partnership. India's Act East policy has also guided its cooperation towards South Korea and new southern policy of South Korea's. They have also have regional strategy towards India and Asia. Economic and trade relations, like both the signatories to comprehensive economic partnership agreement since 2009. So bilateral trade between both reached to $27 billion in 2022. Korea Plus initiative aims to promote and facilitate Korean investment in India. Korea increasingly sees India as a new economic partner, and their aim is to reduce over dependence on China and US. The two countries aspire to take commerce up to 50 billion US dollars by 2030. And strategic convergence, both support a rule-based Indo-Pacific and share concerns about China's rise and North Korea's nuclearization. In 2018, India endorsed the Vancouver Dialogue to prevent North Korea nuclear proliferation. And Korea's Indo-Pacific strategy includes India as a key member in this region. And defense and security cooperation, the defense policy initiated in 2013 has upgraded to 2+2 dialogue, and it's expanding into joint research production like K9 Vajra artillery gun and collaboration in areas like cyber, space and intelligence sharing. Cultural relations, Sarang Festival of India in Korea, organized every year to showcase diverse Indian culture and art form in various parts of South Korea. And Indian diaspora, many Indian scholars pursue post-graduation and PhD program in Korea. Professionals in IT, shipping, automobile have also migrated to Korea. So what's the challenges? Like geographical gap. So because of the distance, it has restricted their interaction between the two countries, delayed strategic cooperation. Like the rivalry of Cold War limited their interaction. Because South Korea perceived India as aligned with the socialistic bloc. Suboptimal cooperation, like limited cooperation result from lack of strong political intent on both sides. Because South Korea has been often seen aligning with the major powers like US, while India's regional policies are still developing. Untapped economic potential. CEPA is said to be limited in scope. So this is one of the major problems. And there is a problem that India is also facing a major trade deficit around $8 billion in 2021-22. And what's the way ahead? Vision for systemic cooperation. The bilateral relationship has historically emphasized economic projects. So we have to focus more on Indo-Pacific strategy. And South Korea along with New Zealand and Vietnam has also participated in Quad. So many experts believe that such cooperation should lead to the expansion of Quad as Quad Plus. Deepening economic and technological cooperation. Korea's aging population and technology should combine with progressive youthful India to make it as a manufacturing hub. And we also have high potential for collaboration in various fields like startup, technology-driven services and digital trade. The next is strengthening of maritime security. So both countries can explore potential for joint HADR exercise, counter piracy operation, and maritime domain awareness. Developing regional synergies like Asian and Indian Ocean Rim Association are critical platforms so that both the countries can facilitate to engage with the third countries. Then multilateral cooperations like forums like Indian Ocean Region Association, Asian, Indo-Pacific Economic Forum. These offers opportunities for the collaboration between these countries, and they can collaborate in supply chain resilience, infrastructure, clean energy, and decarbonization engagement. So yeah, the next is India Maldives. So Maldives new Maldives president has pitched to end the presence of Indian troops in the island in accordance with his pre-poll promise made under India Out campaign. So India Out campaign has led by the Progressive Party of Maldives. They played pivotal role in its recent electoral victory. So according to this, the new president have decided to reduce the Indian troops in the Maldives island, as they believe that this compromises the sovereignty of the Maldives. So it began in response to India's gift of two Dhruv advanced light helicopter in 2010 and 15, and these helicopters provide for purpose like maritime weather surveillance and ocean search and rescue operation. Around 70 million military persons maintain India-sponsored radar stations, surveillance aircraft in Maldives, and help patrol Maldives exclusive economic zone. So about Maldives, its position is in North Indian Ocean. It keeps in the vicinity of water patrolled by Indian Navy warships, and it is just 70 miles away from the Minicoy Island and 300 nautical miles away from the India's western coast. So India-China geopolitical dynamics in Maldives. In 2018-13, cordial beginning. The first democratic government was elected in 2018, and friendly beginning was underpinned by enhanced security and cooperation with India. So they were pro-Indian. In 2013-18, the Provisional Party, the Progressive Party of Maldives won the election, and the elected president. They pursued to crack down on democracy, growing proximity to China, and use of anti-Indian rhetoric. So they were pro-Chinese, and in 2018-23, again the engagements was renewed with the Maldives with India, and they have implemented the first India First policy, emphasizing economic and defense cooperation with India. So what's the importance of Maldives for India? Like integral to India's neighborhood first policy. So with strong cultural and economic and trade ties for centuries, Maldives is an important component for India's neighborhood first policy. And also Maldives is also a member of SAARC. Strategic location. They form a strategic link between Indian Ocean choke points, including the Gulf of Aden and Strait of Hormuz and Malacca. The location is significant for India's whose 95% of trade by volume and 65% of trade by volume come via Indian Ocean. And first line of defense. It acts as a first line of defense such as terrorism, piracy, drug trafficking, etc. and reducing influence of China in Indian Ocean region. Then presence of diaspora. Indian expatriate community have a strong presence in health and education sector in Maldives. And the importance of India for Maldives. Why India is important for Maldives? Recognition of Maldives. India was the first among various countries to recognize Maldives after its independence in 1965 to establish diplomatic relation with the country. Amicable relation. 1976 Maritime Boundary Treaty resolved dispute over Minicoy, and Minicoy has been handed over as an integral part of India. The first responder in crisis. 1988 military intervention named Operation Cactus to prevent coup, and in 2004 assisted after the tsunami, and 2014 for the aid for the water shortage, and in 2020 comprehensive help during COVID-19 pandemic. It's a net security provided for Maldives under the Sagar initiative. So the area of cooperative between India and Maldives, like bilateral trade, is near about 323.9 million dollars, and India becoming the Maldives' third largest trade partner. And security and defense have comprehensive action plan of defense, and India meets about 70% of Maldives defense training need. India is building a new coast guard base at Uturu Thilafalu atoll, but this has been suspended by the newly elected president for the review. They engage in joint military exercise like equivalent and participate in joint humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise, and cooperate in Colombo Security Conclave. Then development cooperation. India has established Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, Institute of Technical Education, Faculty of Hospitality, Tourism Studies, National College for Police and Law Enforcement, etc. Infrastructure project. India is supporting airport redevelopment, road and land reclamation, etc. And the Greater Mali connectivity, it helps to connect the three adjacent island to Mali, which is the capital of Maldives. Tourism. In 2023, India is the leading source market for the Maldives, and both countries have an open sky arrangement and visa-free entry for tourism, medical and business purpose. So what's the way ahead? Like allying in anti-Indian notion. India has to work on perception management in Maldives, and this will bring more benefit to the people of Maldives. Like youth employability and entrepreneurship. More than 35% of Maldives population are young people aged in 15 to 35. So the future project by India should be targeted for youth employability and early completion of project. The project should be efficient, and it has to be finished earlier. Engaging with the new government. So negotiation has to be made with the new government also. Focus on India's strength by increasing the people to people connection and fostering the development. So yeah, this is India Maldives. So the next topic is United Nations Human Rights Council. The UN General Assembly, they have elected 15 member state for HRC, Human Rights Council, and they have declined the Russia's bid to rejoin the same. So yeah, 15 new members were elected by secret ballot according to different region for the term 2024 to 26 for 3-year term, and each country should need a minimum of 97 votes to get elected, and Russia was competing against Albania and Bulgaria for 2 seats representing the East European regional group, but Russia was ousted from United Nations Human Resource Council after it invaded Ukraine. And the various countries which got elected includes China, Japan, Kuwait, Burundi, France, Cuba, Brazil, etc. About United Nations Human Resource Council, it is headquartered at Geneva, and it is a principal intergovernmental body within UN system which are responsible for strengthening the promotion and protection of the human rights around the globe. And it is created by the UN General Assembly in 2006, and it's a subsidiary organ. It replaces the Commission on Human Rights, and they adopted an institution building package in 2007 to set up a council's procedure and mechanism. And this structure includes a president and 4 vice presidents, each of the 5 regional group. This regional 13 African, 13 Asian countries, 6 East Europe, and 8 Latin American and Caribbean, and 7 Western Europe and others. And they are responsible for procedure and organizational leadership of the council. And next is the working group. It has several working groups studying about the human right issue and maintain a special report projects on this commission. And secretary, the staff from the Office of High Commissioner of Human Rights serve as the secretary. It was created by UNJ in 1993 to promote and protect the enjoyment and full realization by all people of all human rights. And the United Nations High Commissioner is accountable to the Secretary General of the United Nations General Assembly. Observer non-member states, intergovernmental organization and NGOs. Power, they can establish international commissions of inquiry and fact-finding mission. The problem is it is not legally binding. The decision of this council is not legally binding. So what's the major role played by United Nations Human Rights Council? They holding government accountable, addressing gross and systemic violation, for example in countries like Syria, fact-finding investigations and technical assistance and capacity building. What's the criticism? Membership criteria. Many of the council seats have been held by countries with human rights concerns. So those countries who are actually violating the human right has been at the position the where they have the authority to take decision against them, such as Saudi Arabia, China, Syria, etc. And they could block scrutiny of themselves and others. And then selectivity and politicization. Focus on Israel. Highlighted a dedicated council items in 2007. Then accessibility barrier. So even they have a problem in that. Participation of civil society. So human rights defenders and NGO representatives often face interruptions and reprisals. And then next is implementation deficiency. So the recommendation made by them are non-binding. What's the way ahead? Enhance credibility, deeper scrutiny of candidates' countries. So it has to be, there is a need to take place. And there must be a set time frame to comply with its membership obligations. Enhancing accessibility. So they have to be provided with funds and offering technical assistance to civil society organization. And adopt zero tolerance policy on reprisals, harassment and intimidation of various groups and NGOs. Accreditation of civil society. So we have to revamp the United Nations NGO Committee accreditation system, moving it from diplomats to qualified professional experts has to be included in that. Enhancing effectiveness in function. Proactive approach. Reduce the time between country visit and report presentation at the council. If early signs of reverse human right violation are detected, expedite consideration through informal briefings and urgent debates. And we have to enhance the visibility. Better communication council mechanism has to be improved among the various stakeholders working at local, national and regional level. So next topic is South China Sea. So Philippines has removed a floating barrier installed by China which blocked Philippine fishing boats from entering a contested area in the South China Sea. So what happened is China has installed a floating barrier near a lagoon in Scarborough Shoal here, claiming it as its territory, while Philippines claim it to be the part of the exclusive economic zone. So what's the background of South China Sea dispute is that while sea lies south of the mainland China, its littoral state, that is littoral states include Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Taiwan and Vietnam. Whereas China claims 90% of the region as its exclusive economic zone based on the 9-line. So China has been claiming this much area to be its own. So which is 90% area, which was introduced in 1947 through historical claim over the Paracel and Spratly Island in the region. Meanwhile, littoral states also claim their respective shares in the exclusive economic zone and the island based on their history. China, to uphold its influence, started creating an artificial island across the region So they have started creating an artificial island along this region, and there they has constructed ports, military installation, and airstrips in them. So Philippines moved the issue to the permanent court of arbitration at Hague, and the court issued its ruling in the favor of Philippines under UN clause 2016, which China has refused. So what's the challenges? Like Chinese aggression is one of the main challenges in South China Sea. Excessive fishing and damage to the marine ecosystem by building artificial island by China, military drills, and global common. Like claims of China will affect the global common of freedom of navigation and trade. What's the significance of South China Sea? Maritime trade. It's the busiest sea route of the world. It more than 60% of global trade passes through this sea, and approximately 3.37 million worth of million dollar trillion dollar worth of trade passes through South China Sea in 2016. Even Indian vessels crosses through that to reach the Pacific nation. Nearly 55% of India's trade with the Indo-Pacific region passes through this water. And it has a natural reserve. It's like it has a vast reserve of oils, natural gas, coral, lime, high silicate, sands, quality, and gem and natural pearl. Then fishing ground. It is warm throughout the year, so it is considered as one of the major commercial fishing grounds in the world. Numerous uninhabited island. There are numerous uninhabited islands which could also be used as a port, military base, and research avenue. And then freedom of navigation. And then act is policy. So countries being bullied by China in the region are members of Asian grouping, which with which India has a various economic and strategic ties. Now, what's the way forward? By achieving a code of conduct in the region, we have to set up proper rules and regulations so that all these countries can use it efficiently. Then practicing suitable fishing. Then establishing a transboundary maritime peace park. Then stalling, it has been done in Red Sea maritime peace park. It has established between the Israel and Jordan. So similarly, it can be done in South China Sea also. Stalling artificial intelligence projects and ensuring freedom of passage. So yeah, the next topic is Nagorno-Karabakh region. Recently, Azerbaijan has launched an anti-terrorist offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh region and claimed to have regained full control over this region. So, in December 2022, the Lachin corridor, which is here, it was blocked by the Azerbaijan, causing severe shortage of essential goods and including food, fuel, water in Nagorno-Karabakh. Lachin corridor, it's a 5-kilometer long corridor connecting conclave to Armenia. So it connects to Armenia. So about this conclave, it's a mountainous region and it is claimed by both Armenia and Azerbaijan. So it has a population of 1.2 lakh population, which is actually ethnic Armenian, and they have close ties with the Armenia in cultural, social, and historic. So history is that the region has been conflict of influence since the medieval period. The Imperial Russia, the Ottoman Empire, and the Persian Empire. When Tsar's Russian gave way to Soviet Union in 1921, Nagorno-Karabakh was a part of Azerbaijan's Soviet Socialist Republic, and in 1923, USSR established an atomic oblast in that region within Azerbaijan's Republic Association. When the Soviet Union was dissolved in 1991, Armenia and Azerbaijan achieved statehood, and Nagorno-Karabakh officially declared independence. A war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. In 1988, first war, tension between this region, passing a resolution declaring its intention to join Armenia. This region, they passed a resolution to join with Armenia. But in 1994, Russia brokered a ceasefire known as the Bishkek Protocol. This made Nagorno-Karabakh de facto independent with the self-proclaimed government in Stepanakert. The second war started in 2020. This time, Azerbaijan managed to control of the territory around Nagorno-Karabakh. Russia again brokered to deal, but Azerbaijan wanted more concessions, so there was no peace deal. What are the initiatives were made to maintain peace in the region? The Minsk Group, co-chaired by Russia and US and France, created by the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe in early 1990s to arrive at the peaceful resolution at Nagorno-Karabakh region. The Madrid Principle by Minsk Group suggested that giving control of 7 Karabakh districts to Azerbaijan and self-governance to the region. However, it was not accepted even after the modification in 2011. What's India's stand? In 2020, after conflict broke out, India stated that any lasting resolution on the conflict can be made through only by diplomatic negotiation. What's the India's interest? Actually, connectivity. Armenia is a crucial player in the planned international north-south corridor. And geopolitical interest, in 2017, Turkey, Azerbaijan and Pakistan, they established the security cooperation. So the trade, India's trade relation with Armenia is near about 134.1 million US dollar, and with Azerbaijan is 1.88 billion US dollar in 2022. So yeah, news in short. So India UAE, they have signed a RuPay domestic card scheme agreement. In this, NPCI International Payment Limited and AI Etihad Payment have signed a strategic partnership for implementation of domestic card scheme in the UAE. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of NPCI, this NIPL is, and it strives to assist other countries in establishing their own cost-efficient and secure payment system. This will seek to diversify payment opinions, reduce transaction costs, and enhance the UAE's global competitiveness in payment industries. It aims to accelerate the growth of e-commerce and digital transaction, advance financial inclusion, and align with the UAE's ambitious digital agenda. This provides NIPL consists of RuPay, Stack, and value-added service like fraud monitoring service and analysis. So NPCI, it is an umbrella organization for operating retail payments and settlement system in India. It's an initiative of RBI and Indian Bank Association under Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. It's a not-for-profit company under Companies Act 2013. They provide infrastructure for entire banking system and bring innovation in retail payment system. So there are various products under NPCI like NFS, Immediate Payment Service, Aadhaar Enabled Payment System, National Automated Clearing House, National Electronic Toll Collection, Bharat Bill Payment, Unified Payment Interface, and Aadhaar Payment Bridge. So about RuPay cards, it's an India's indigenous card payments network provider by NPCI. They have debit, credit and prepaid proposition, and more than 60% of the total card issued in India. This issued through public sector, private and small banks. Next, International Criminal Court. Armenia's parliament voted to join the ICC. So ICC, it has its headquarters in Hague, Netherlands. It's been established by the Rome Statute of International Criminal Court 1998 and the Permanent International Court governed by International Treaty Rome Statute. It has 123 member countries and India is not a member. They have 18 judges elected by Assembly of State Parties. They serve 9 years on non-renewable terms. The objective is to investigate and prosecute individuals who are accused of international crime like genocide, crime against humanity, war crime and aggression, and the judgment of final without appeal and binding upon the parties. Next is Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. So Russia has indicated towards revoking its ratification of the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. It says that the withdrawal from ratification aims to place Russia on equal footing with the US, because US has signed but not ratified the pact. US didn't ratify the pact because it cited that the difficulty in verifying whether or not participant state meet the rules of the treaty. It's a multilateral treaty which prohibits any nuclear weapon test explosion and any other nuclear explosion anywhere in the world. It bans all nuclear explosion for whether for military or peaceful purposes. The treaty was opened for signature in 1996 and it was signed by 187 nations and ratified by 178. But the treaty cannot be formally entered into force until the 44 specific nations ratify this, and which includes 8 major countries like China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel, Iran, Egypt, and United States. Other treaties which are similar to the nuclear disarmament are treaties on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapon, treaties on the prohibition of nuclear weapon. This entered into force in 1970s and this in 2021. The reason for India for not signing and ratifying CTBT did not insist on complete disarmament. India cannot test and develop nuclear weapon, whereas China would retain its arsenal as per the NPT. The next is United Nations Convention Against the Transnational Organized Crime. The 20th anniversary of UNTOC, celebrated in Italy, defined illegal activities conducted by group of network acting in concert by engaging violence, corruption, etc. So UNTOC, Transnational Organized Crime, was adopted by UN General Assembly in 2000 and came into force in 2003, and its first comprehensive and global legally binding instrument, which is to fight transnational organized crimes. It's been supplemented by the 3 protocols. The first is to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in person, especially women and children, and it's against the smuggling of migrants by land, sea, and air. Protocol against the illicit manufacturing and trafficking in firearms and their parts, etc. And India's initiatives, which is a nodal agency, which includes CBI, which is a national nodal agency to receive and respond to the transnational crimes, and Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 has also been enacted, wherein human trafficking has specifically been defined. The next is Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Development. India is re-elected as the president of AIBD for the 3rd successive term. It is headquartered in Kuala Lumpur and established in 1977 under UNESCO. The International Telecom Union and UNDP are also its founding member. It has 26 government members countries, including India as is represented by their 48 broadcasting authorities. It envisaged to achieve vibrant electronic media environment in the region, to establish inter-regional links and cooperation for media and communication development, a think tank for the development of regional programming. The next is Indian Ocean Rim Association, meeting held in Colombo, Sri Lanka. What's the key highlight of the meeting is that to strengthen the regional architect, Colombo Communic and Aero Vision 2030 and beyond was adopted. Saudi Arabia was formally welcomed as the 11th dialogue partner, and Indian Ocean Rim Association chairmanship was transferred from Bangladesh to Sri Lanka in 2023-25. India will take chairmanship in 25-27. About Indian Ocean Rim Association, it's an intergovernmental organization established in 1997. It's based on the vision of the Nelson Mandela. It aims to strengthen regional cooperation, sustainable development with the Indian Ocean region. It has 23 members within IOR, and it meets annually in apex body. 6 priorities areas with 2 cross-cutting issues like maritime safety and security, fishery management, and disaster risk management. Special fund support projects and programs has been implemented by them. Indian Ocean Rim Association outlook on Indo-Pacific calls for adherence to 1982 UN clause. It comprises of one third of world population, 80% of global trade, oil trade, and it produces over $1 trillion in goods and services, and its trade is around $800 billion. What's the importance for India? To keep out big powers rivalries like China from Indian Ocean Rim Association, and less contentious space for regional cooperation India since Pakistan is not a member. Next is Interparliamentary Forum. The ninth P20 summit will be hosted by the Parliament of India in cooperation with IPU in New Delhi. It's an annual gathering of G20 parliamentary speakers discussing the global issues. So in this, a parliamentary speaker of G20 countries held a meeting to discuss about the global issue. So Indian Parliamentary Union, it's been established in 1889, and its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and it's a small group of parliamentarians. It's a global organization of national parliament that facilitates parliamentary diplomacy. Member includes 179 member and 14 associate member. India is also a member. Parliamentary ecosystem for democracy for everyone, building effective, inclusive, resilient and innovative parliaments. So yeah, that's it. So in next video we'll see about the economy and other topics. Thank you.